We have a very cool guest today. Very important scene in the book, and it looks like he's here right now. You didn't say hi to Brother Lindsay as you walked by.
I don't know.
You are Mr. Chief Captain.
Yes, I'm the captain of the chief. The chief of the captain. The guard.
The guard. This is a microphone, and we need you to use it so that your voice projects out into the...
Thank you for turning it on for me.
Yes. All right, Mr. Chief Captain. Let's just review for 1 second. Last week, we were in chapter 21. Now, last week, Paul had made his way back to Jerusalem. He had talked to some of his disciples. He had seen James. Then he made his way into the temple. Now, this is where things got ugly. In the last chapter, he's into the temple, and the religious rulers snatch him up. For one reason, he had a Gentile in the temple. That's polluting the temple. They did not like the Gentiles. So they snatched up Paul, and they were beating him, and the crowd was going crazy, and just this huge uproar. That's where you come in. What happened when they were beating him? You went down and took care of the situation.
Yes, I got control of the situation right away. Sent my men in to have them. I can't have a unruly mob taking justice in their own hands in a city under my command.
Yeah.
So we pulled Paul out of there before they were able to it seemed like they're gonna tear him to pieces and kill him. So we pulled him out there.
And it's very interesting. You were taking him to the castle. That's where we left off last week. You were taking him to the castle, and Paul says, hey, on the stairs to the castle, he says, hey, Chief Captain, can I go ahead and speak to the people? And that's pretty nice of you. You said go ahead.
That's right. He made this request to take a moment to speak to the people right as we were on the steps of the castle about to go in. And I obliged him, curious, wondering what he's about to say. Perhaps he's about to make a case for, whatever they're accusing him of and explaining, his innocence and stuff. But that's not quite what he said to the people. He stood out in front of them and he began to speak, and he reported them. It's all in my report here. Had to make a document of this whole excursion.
You have the whole thing right there?
Yes. Huh. But so I remember it quite well. So he began to speak to the people, and he said, I was just like you once. He was a zealot, and sent out, and he was persecuting the Christians. That he was he had learned at the feet of Gamaliel, and that he pursued even unto death the different the sections of this new church that was spreading. And he told them, began to speak to them how that all changed for him.
Right. So he told them at first that he was just like them. He was zealous of the law. He was a Pharisee, and he basically did what they were doing to him. So he was trying to get their attention, and then he goes on and tells his story.
Yes, he told us about this this journey he took, how he was on his way crossing over the road of Damascus, and he said that a bright light shined out in front of them. He had their two assistants were also there, and they all saw this light, and he was blinded by it, he said. He said that then he heard a voice that only he heard, that the men there with him did not hear what this voice said to him, and it called out to him by name of Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Is what he said. And he said, he called out, who art thou, Lord? He said, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest.
So he goes into his conversion, and then he tells about how they, took him into the town, and about Ananias, who tells him basically what's going on with him. Now, Ananias told him that a long time ago. You are about to get persecuted, and you must suffer greatly for the Lord. Continue.
Yes, as he goes on with this whole tale, me standing there, not sure what this has to do with anything of what's going on, of why these people are so upset with him. And I was like, what's causing all this anger? What caused this uproar? But as he continued on, he started telling them about how, going around and preaching and stuff. And at the end of his final words, before they got in an uproar again, is he began to speak of the Gentiles.
Yeah.
And about how God had told him to go out and start spreading the message to them. And then he may have been going to say more, but at this point, these people, they turned into a mob once again. They started shouting out, calling for his life and saying he wasn't fit to live. They were throwing dust in the air, and we were worried, maybe they're going to find some rocks pretty soon. So then at that point, I sent my men to get in control of this crowd, and we pulled him back into the castle as we were right there by the door, luckily.
Yeah, it says in verse 21 that he said, his last words, he said, that Jesus said, "Depart, for I will send thee far hence unto the Gentiles."
Yeah.
Now that one word is what really gets him going. It's what got him in the last chapter. He put a Gentile in the temple, and it says, and as they gave him unto this word, the Gentile, he started talking about the Gentiles. Then they lifted up their voice and said, "Away with such a fellow, for he is not fit to live." And they cried out and cast off their clothes and threw dust in the air. I mean, that's quite a scene. So you step in, you take him from the stairs, and you take him inside. And it says here that now you want to find out more about this. And the only way to find out more about this is you need to scourge him.
Right. We need a question. Well, we need to get to the bottom of this, because we're certainly not going to learn it from the people. They're saying all different things, not able to agree on what his crimes are. So I head into my quarters. My people, they began the process of what they're going to scourge Paul and question him. And he gave them some information. He told them of how he was a Roman. And now he reminded them of the law of it would be unlawful for us to do these things. So one of my men came and reported to me immediately saying, this is what's been done. So quickly I had to go in and question Paul that you're claiming to be Roman. We got to get this straight, got to get to the bottom. It's upon my head if something here is done wrong.
Yeah, it says that while they were bounding him up, he pulls out this card, if you will, and says, "Hey, I'm a Roman, and you probably don't want to do this." It was actually pretty smart of him.
Right. So we get him on, and now we're not going to be laying any hands on him. We're not going to be but we're still taking him into prison. There's still a whole process going to go through, and we take him there, and now he is a prisoner under my charge now.
Right. So it says that, and then it says you asked him, because it says that you of a great sum you obtained your Roman citizenship, but Paul says he was born. So you guys got that taken care of. Okay. So now you got him in prison still. The next day is when you're going to take him back before this religious council and set him before them, and you still want to get all this figured out. Now, that's in the next chapter, but go ahead and tell us your thoughts about that.
Well, this man, Paul, I'm not quite sure of what his crimes are, but certainly I can't allow this mob to take these matters in his own hands. So we'll take him before the council, and we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, verse 30 says, "On the morrow," so the next day, because he would have known the certainty wherefore he was accused of the Jews, he loosed him from his bands and commanded the chief priest and all their council to appear, and brought Paul down and set him before the council. Now, that's the end of the chapter, and it gets a little bit crazy. You won't be here next week, but we're going to find out exactly. It's amazing. You don't really have a stake in this claim. You're just trying to keep the peace. And these,
that's right. Got to keep the peace.
All right. Well, Mr. Chief Captain, we appreciate you letting Paul speak on the stairs, and we appreciate your the way you treated him. Except for you were gonna scourge him, weren't you?
You've been listening to a message from the pulpit of Town Center Baptist Church in Happy Valley, Oregon. We invite you to come visit us at 10505 Southeast 85th Avenue in Happy Valley. If we can be of help to you, please call us at 503-659-4494. We wish you God's very best.